Tonight, the political fallout over Donald Trump's historic conviction.
November 5th is the most important day in the history of our country.
The former president on offense as he lays out his grievances about the 34-count conviction in his hush money trial, what he plans to do next, and we're also going to speak to one Republican member of the House who says investigating the conduct of the trial itself should be at the top of Congress's priority list. Plus,
from the surgeon standpoint, you know, we're trained, having seen trauma in our training and practice, to sometimes put aside the life story of the patient and not be attached to their death or their suffering. Here, it's completely different. I've become attached to every single patient.
They are American men and women who ran into the war in Gaza. In tonight's Prime Focus, we bring you the distressing firsthand accounts of what these doctors saw, heard, and experienced on the ground. And they are sisters coming together, celebrating a part of their Jewish heritage, all while helping to advance social justice and racial equity issues nationwide. We bring you the Challah Girls from the kitchen where it all started. Good evening. I'm Phil Lipoff in tonight for Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We are following those stories and much more, including President Biden saying it is time to end the war, revealing to the world the offer that's been made to Hamas to try to get ceasefire and to get the hostages home, what Israel and Hamas are now indicating. Plus, a retired four-star Navy admiral charged with bribery, what he's accused of doing. And the Scripps National Spelling Bee came down to a nail-biter of a moment, the seventh grader who took home the prize and the award-winning word that got him the gold. But we begin this Friday night with the fallout after that historic guilty verdict in the trial of former President Trump. Trump today lashing out at that verdict, vowing to appeal. As President Biden broke his silence, the guilty verdict now looming large over a razor-thin race for the White House. Biden defending the American legal system and the 12 citizens who served as jurors, calling it reckless, dangerous, and irresponsible for anyone to call it rigged just because they don't like the verdict. Meantime, Trump spoke for more than a half hour at Trump Tower, blasting the case, the judge, and the guilty verdict, warning, quote, "If they can do this to me, they can do this to anyone." The former president continues to deny he did anything wrong. Sentencing is now set for July 11th, just 4 days before the RNC is set to take place. Our team is standing by to cover it all. Rachel Scott leading us off from New York.
Tonight, President Biden speaking out for the first time since his rival, former President Donald Trump, was convicted of 34 felony counts, declaring the verdict should be respected.
The American principle that no one is above the law was reaffirmed.
Biden praising the regular Americans who sat on the 12-person jury, saying Trump was given every opportunity to defend himself and denouncing Trump's efforts to undermine the criminal justice system.
It's reckless, it's dangerous, it's irresponsible for anyone to say this was rigged just because they don't like the verdict. Our justice system. The justice system should be respected, and we should never allow anyone to tear it down.
But from Trump today, defiance and fury. At Trump Tower, the former president lashing out in a 33-minute speech, making the outrageous claim that the U.S. is fascist.
This is a case where if they can do this to me, they can do this to anyone.
Trump claiming he's done nothing wrong.
I paid a lawyer, a legal expense, and a bookkeeper without any knowledge from me correctly marked it down in the books.
But the jury saw it differently. 7 men, 5 women, those jurors selected by both the defense and the prosecution from all walks of life, determining Trump did commit crimes, convicting him on all 34 counts of falsifying business records, to conceal a $130,000 hush money payment to porn star Stormy Daniels to keep her story from voters before the 2016 election. And tonight, questions about whether Trump violated the gag order still in place and bringing up his former friend and fixer, Michael Cohen.
I'm not allowed to use his name because of the gag order. But, you know, he's a sleazebag.
Judge Juan Merchan, who held Trump in criminal contempt 10 times, fining him $10,000 during the trial, has said that if Trump violates the order again, he'd risk going to jail. Trump attacked him, too, calling him a devil and a tyrant. It will be Marchand who sentences the former president on July 11th, just 4 days before he's set to accept the Republican nomination for president.
Rachel joins us here on set. Rachel, that kind of language, how does that help the former president moving into sentencing?
Look, it will be up to Judge Juan Marchand to decide whether the former president gets prison time, home confinement, fines, or probation. And so tonight, many are wondering why the former president would go after the very judge who will ultimately decide his fate. And again, that sentencing set to take place on July 11th. That's just 4 days before the Republican National Convention, Phil.
All right, Rachel Scott, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, and we want to bring in now Republican Representative from Tennessee, Tim Burchett. Representative, always good to have you on the show. Thanks for your time. Former President Trump's attorney, Todd Blanche, said he expected Trump to be found guilty. And I'm wondering, did you expect that outcome as well?
I did. I thought maybe you might get one or two to get hung up. But when I heard the verdict was coming in so fast, I knew that it was over.
I'm wondering, there are a lot of people that, debate whether these charges should have been up to felonies brought at all these years later. But I'm wondering, do you think there was any kind of crime committed here?
No, actually, it was a misdemeanor. They moved up to a felony. They changed the statute of limitations. And, 5 days of a jury trial for this type of thing, to me, is outrageous. In the case for a crime being committed, it really wasn't even made till the final conclusion when the prosecution was allowed to go last. So I'm not an attorney, but I see some clear errors in this.
The former president's team says they are definitely going to appeal, and there are more than one grounds to appeal on. I'm wondering, what would you focus on? What do you think is the most egregious thing that happened?
Again, I'm not an attorney, but from what I understand, when it gets to the appeals process, and then I don't have no faith in them whatsoever. And I feel like to get to the Supreme Court, they're going to have to prove that the Constitution was violated. So then it will. That's what the United States Supreme Court, and that's where I think justice will finally be doled out.
Well, you've heard the former president call the trial rigged, as he called the election. Today, he called the judge the devil. This rhetoric, obviously, he's angry, not happy with the outcome. This rhetoric, though, do you think this rhetoric serves him during the appeal process?
I don't think it goes one way or the other. I don't think he's going to get a fair shot during the appeal. But to say, I've heard a lot of people get up on their idealistic high horse and say it's improper to question I even heard the president say something similar to that. But if you go back to the president during the State of the Union, he was questioning our United States Supreme Court, and he asked the crowd to show their disapproval to the Supreme Court. It's people have very short memories.
I'm curious, because you're on the House Oversight Committee. I'm wondering if you are going to investigate the former president's claims that this was a rigged trial. You've just told me and our viewers that you don't think he could have got a fair trial there. Do you have plans to investigate?
Well, that's ultimately up to the Speaker and Chairman Comer. I suspect if Chairman Comer is allowed to do it, he will, in fact, investigate this. Our plate's pretty full right now, but I would say this should be at the top of the priority list.
I am wondering what you think about the rhetoric. And this goes beyond this moment and goes before this moment. And you remember in 2016, I went to almost all those rallies, and at every rally, the chant was "lock her up." Right? There were calls to lock up Hillary Clinton, who had already been Secretary of State. So this predates what's happening now. I want to know what you think about this entire ordeal of talking about, locking up opponents and some of the rhetoric we're hearing now about what Donald Trump should do if he becomes president again.
Well, I don't think it's going to end anytime soon, because obviously the clickbait, the Twitters or the X's, if you will, the Facebooks and things like that. People are wanting instantaneous responses and instantaneous gratification, and that's what they get from this. And so, no, and both sides play it up. It's used to sell. It's used to fear. The two greatest motivators are fear and hunger. And we're entering into an election year, and there'll be a whole lot of fear.
Representative Burchett,
yes,
thank you so much. Always good to talk to you.
Thank you, brother.
All right, the other major headline tonight from the White House, President Biden taking the dramatic move of going public, revealing to the world the most recent deal offered to Hamas to try to get a ceasefire, get the hostages home, and, of course, more humanitarian aid into Gaza. The president saying, quote, "It's time for this war to end." What Israel and Hamas are indicating tonight, our Mary Bruce is at the White House.
Tonight, in a dramatic move, President Biden laying out in great detail for the world to see the ceasefire deal Israel has put on the table, challenging Hamas to get on board as Biden himself faces growing political pressure here at home.
It's time for this war to end.
The president, in stark terms, assuring that Hamas has been drastically degraded.
At this point, Hamas no longer is capable of carrying out another October 7th. It's one of Israel's main objectives in this war, and quite frankly, a righteous one.
Biden, for the first time, pulling back the curtain on negotiations. The first phase, an initial 6-week ceasefire with women, children, and the most vulnerable hostages returned in exchange for the release of hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. Israeli troops would withdraw from populated areas in Gaza, and humanitarian aid would surge in. What comes next, far more complicated. The temporary ceasefire would hold while Israel and Hamas negotiate a permanent plan, a full end to fighting and release of the remaining hostages.
Hamas needs to take the deal.
Just days after the Israelis cautioned the war would continue through the end of the year, Biden with a message to them too, urging Prime Minister Netanyahu to stand behind this deal, despite pressure from hardliners to keep up the fight. The president now declaring enough is enough.
It's time to begin this new stage. For the hostages to come home, for Israel to be secure, for the suffering to stop.
Mary joins us now. Mary, after hearing the president today, what is Israel tonight saying about this plan?
Well, tonight, Phil, Israel is expressing support for this plan. Hamas says they, too, view it positively, but there is still a long road ahead here and a lot of details to be negotiated. It's pretty clear that President Biden is eager to get this done. He certainly would like to see some progress on this by Election Day, Phil.
Mary Bruce from the White House. Mary, thank you.
Thank you.
The Texas Supreme Court today rejected a challenge to one of the most restrictive abortion bans in the entire U.S., following a lawsuit by women who had serious pregnancy complications. The 9 justices, who are all elected Republicans, ruled unanimously to uphold the ban, which critics say does not offer enough clarity on exceptions. But the court said the exceptions, as written, are broad enough, and doctors would be misinterpreting the law if they declined to perform an abortion when the mother's life is in danger. A retired 4-star admiral, once the number 2 position in the Navy, has been arrested on bribery charges. He is accused of steering a government contract to a private company that promised him to hire him for $500,000 a year. Here's Martha Raddatz.
He is a retired 4-star admiral, the number 2 position in all of the Navy. But this morning, Admiral Robert Burke was arrested at his home in Florida on bribery charges for allegedly directing a lucrative government training contract to a private company that promised him a $500,000 annual salary plus stock options after retirement. Prosecutors say the bribery scheme happened over a 2-year period from 2020 to 2022, at a time Burke commanded thousands of U.S. forces as head of naval operations in Europe and Africa. The indictment says that within months of his retirement, Burke went to work for the company and received his $500,000 salary. The U.S. Attorney's Office saying Admiral Burke not only used his public office and his 4-star status for his private gain, but tried to cover it up by falsely implying he had no role in awarding the contract.
Martha joins us now. Martha, what's the Navy saying about this?
Well, Phil, while the admiral is now retired from the Navy, of course, the Navy issued a statement today saying that they have been cooperating with everything they have seen. And, of course, Admiral Burke has not yet been arraigned, so he has not yet entered a plea. Phil?
All right, Martha Raddatz from Washington tonight. Martha, thank you. President Biden welcomed the Kansas City Chiefs to the White House today to celebrate the team's Super Bowl victory. The team participating in the event on the South Lawn for the second time in 2 years. At one point, tight end Travis Kelce took the mic, made a few jokes. That was a nod to a funny moment from last year's event. The president honored the Chiefs for their overtime win over the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl in Las Vegas in February, and he put on a helmet. There is still much more to get to here on Prime. The nation's largest minority group is graduating college at an all-time high, but the census data shows them among the most underpaid and underrepresented in the workforce. But next, they dropped everything and headed straight into a war zone. Meet the healthcare leaders giving their all to help children caught in Gaza. Tonight's Prime Focus.
When it matters most, America turns to David Muir and ABC's World News Tonight.
If you were coming of age in the 1980s, the Brat Pack was near the center of your cultural awareness. But for those of us experiencing it from the inside, the Brat Pack was something very different. On June 10th, 1985, New York Magazine published Hollywood's Brat Pack. I just remember seeing that cover and thinking, oh. From then on, my career and the career of everyone who was involved was branded to the Brat Pack.
I'm really sorry that article had to come out.
I've never talked to anybody about what that was like. So I thought it might be interesting to try and contact everyone who was in the Brat Pack. Hey, Emilio Estevez. This is Andrew McCarthy calling you. Hey, Allie. Hey, Demi. Hey, Molly. Let's call Rob. Hello? Judd? Me? You around? You were not interested in talking about the Brat Pack for years.
I turned everything down.
How come you're talking to me?
Because you called me. It was time that we clear the air on a couple of things.
I love your stuff, Bob. Hey, thank you. I hated the Brat Pack for decades. What a disaster. If you could have the Brat Pack name not exist, would you?
It really irritated me. They said, what's more important to you, the movie or your life? And I said,
the movie!
Andrew.
Have you talked to the others? The others, like, again, it feels like a cult or something.
Yeah. Why did we take it as an offense?
Well,
as opposed to like
the brat.
Because we were young.
We were afraid we were brats, you know? Are you in the Brat Pack?
I'm Brat Pack adjacent.
That's what I was saying.
I am not in the Brat Pack.
Don't you crush on you back in the day?
You did not, Andrew. No, you did not.
Being in the Brat Pack not only changed all of our lives, it changed what entertainment is. I mean, I'm not going to say we were the Beatles or anything.
Well, we didn't fill Shea Stadium. There were moments.
We could have. 1985, I think we could have.
So what are you filming?
Oh, we're just doing this documentary.
What's it about?
Ancient history.
Tonight,
Oh my gosh, somebody has my daughter.
all new 2020 true crime
I just remember it was madness.
has a case we all thought was solved.
Holly Bobo.
Holly Bobo.
Holly Bobo.
Been blown wide open.
Do you think the jury got this one wrong?
Absolutely.
Now, never-before-seen video of a key witness changing his story.
What does he tell you?
Tells me he made the whole thing up.
The all-new 2020, tonight at 9/8 Central on ABC.
Welcome back. Tonight, we want to introduce you to the brave healthcare heroes who dropped what they were doing here and headed to the middle of a war zone, Gaza, to try to take care of the wounded. They want the world to understand what's happening and not to forget about the children caught in the middle of this conflict, barely understand and did not ask for. In tonight's Prime Focus, Tom Sufi Burridge has the gripping accounts from the hospitals in Gaza. And a warning to you, some viewers may find these images disturbing.
Open. On the floor, surrounded by medics, a little boy is fighting for his life. It is a cramped, chaotic, but all too common scene in one of Gaza's only remaining hospitals. It unit where nurse Brenda Maldonado from Washington State and other heroic staff are doing everything they can. The boy was hit by a car, not a bomb. But with the war bringing Gaza's healthcare system to its knees, Brenda and the team have few medical resources or options. Any patient in Gaza in a critical condition stands little chance. Pain for Brenda clear. The boy did not survive.
Heartbreakingly, we lost him. So every day since I've arrived, we've been watching young children die unnecessarily. It's heartbreaking, it's traumatic, and I wish that it would stop.
Can you come set the ventilator, please?
For 2 weeks, the Al-Aqsa Hospital in Rafah in southern Gaza is Brenda's workplace.
As you can see, it is congested. There are 2 tents here that are holding patients outside of the hospital. And then as we go inside here, this is the lobby. This is the lobby of the hospital, but it is now being utilized as a patient ward because there is absolutely nowhere else to put the patients. And so here are the patients. It's very challenging taking care of people here. There is no privacy for the patients at all. It's very heartbreaking. The nursing staff is overwhelmed. Most of the nursing staff here have lost their homes. They've had to relocate. I was speaking with one doctor that has had to move 10 times during the war to seek safety.
There are children with amputated limbs, and on the floors of the cluttered wards, multiple patients with fresh shrapnel wounds.
When bombings happen, they don't just happen usually to one person. It's usually a dozen or 2 dozen people that have been struck by shrapnel, bombs, bullets, and so they arrive to the hospital 4, 5, 10 at a time. No, you need to leave that on, okay? Okay, it's helping you.
Brenda is working in Gaza with Chicago-based NGO Med Global.
Patients everywhere.
She sees the suffering, especially amongst the young, up close, in a place international journalists like us cannot access.
Most of the children have been 8 years and under with head traumas, and that just took their last breaths here in front of us. So it's deeply impacting, very heartbreaking, especially when the family is here grieving over their beautiful child that was just out in the street playing.
In another part of Rafah, New York surgeon Dr. Saeed Saeed, also with Med Global, is working in another hospital where families bed down in the stairwell. These are some of the few safe spaces in the Strip.
The smells that greet you when you walk through the hospital are the smells of cooking. And when you enter the wards, you smell sewage, you smell infection. So, children running around the hospital, always with a smile on their face, greeting you, saying hello, how are you?
Dr. Saeed has also witnessed avoidable deaths of children. In Gaza, some of the victims of war and displacement are not killed by bullets or bombs.
The child fell into a pot of boiling water and ended up with scald burns through a large portion of her body. And knowing that that child will probably die either while I'm here or after I leave, that really broke my heart. Knowing that I can only spend a certain amount of time here, and what we have is limited in terms of supplies and the ability to provide the care that this child would otherwise get anywhere else.
Saeed tried to get 4-year-old Hala transferred to the US for treatment, but within days, she was dead.
These are supplies brought from the States.
When Dr. Saeed arrived in Gaza, he brought bags full of medicines, basic drugs, which he says the hospitals here are badly lacking.
The options that we have here are so limited because the instruments that we use are not delicate as we would use in the United States. Antibiotics are limited, medications are limited to treat pain. We're treating these children with just the basic pain medications like Tylenol when they may have a wound that's 20 centimeters gaping with exposed bone.
Back at the Al-Aqsa Hospital, Brenda speaking to us from a chaotic ER.
The emergency room is very busy and full right now. People are desperate. They want to find their loved ones. They want treatment. They're hurting. They're in pain.
The cramped conditions clear
Let me see if I can get out.
as they treat multiple casualties with serious head injuries.
This young man here has a traumatic brain injury.
Most of them just lying on the floor. After 7 months of war, specialist facilities and equipment in Gaza have been destroyed. But the youngest victims keep coming in. Around 26,000 kids have now been killed or injured in Gaza, says Save the Children.
Children, they seem to be impacted by blasts more, and they suffer from head injuries. And the really heartbreaking thing is that head injuries here are basically a death sentence.
I'm working in the resuscitation room of the emergency room. We're walking through one of the corridors, and as you can see, there are many patient beds here. They have completely run out of space.
As dire as the conditions are in Gaza, Brenda and Saeed also have to navigate life under bombs and gunfire.
At the hospital, there was a bombing very close.
There was an explosion at 2:30 in the morning that was so loud that I almost felt like my eardrums might pop.
From the surgeon standpoint, having seen trauma in our training and practice, to sometimes put aside the life story of the patient and not be attached to their death or their suffering. Here, it's completely different. I've become attached to every single patient. It really affects me significantly, and it's very painful.
He's got intracranial pressure that's increasing, as well as his blood pressure is very high.
We need a ceasefire because there's beautiful children right now standing and looking at me as I'm doing this interview, and they deserve a life that is bomb-free and war-free.
Focus has now turned to Rafah, the city they were both in, which Israel says is Hamas's last stronghold and where Israeli forces have now started to push in. This Israeli strike hitting an encampment on the edge of Rafah just days ago, killing many children. The IDF called the strike a tragic incident that should not have happened.
Rafah and the south are extremely populated. There are children running around, large families living in tents. These people have already been displaced, and then to displace them again, they'll be left with even less.
We are not taking action soon enough, and there will be outbreaks of diseases very soon.
You're increasing the risk of famine, you're increasing the risk of disease. The children have no education. It's just creating a complete disaster. These children, the majority of them have smiles on their face despite losing sometimes all of their family members. So the question is, who's going to be caring for these orphans? Who's going to take them in?
Yeah, there is so much uncertainty and grief right now. Our thanks to Tom Soufi-Burridge for that. There is still much more to get to tonight. Coming up, from fundraising to court costs, we're going to take a look at 7 weeks of the Trump trial by the numbers. Plus, the bonding power of breaking bread. Meet the siblings who are doing good by baking challah.
What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
An operation to capture ISIS fighters.
Is this our Combat Operations Center?
We're approaching the gate now. Militants came in from 4 or 5 different directions. Operational nuclear reactor. So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag, there's not a tear in it.
Not a tear in it.
How important is this label right here, Made in the USA? Look at your smile. You're proud of this.
I love this.
Great work. Hi. Where are you? Where are you?
Appreciate you.
Thank you, David. Good to meet you.
Ismail? David.
David.
Yes, yes. I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
Watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
I experienced a lot of heartache. I'm a tough woman, but it's not easy. You're gonna feel lonely. It's taken me a really long time to even get to this moment.
And the CMA Award for
Entertainer of the Year
goes to
Lainey Wilson.
That was a mic drop.
The Entertainer of the Year, baby.
I do see the bell bottoms and the hat as my superhero outfit.
Wild Horses.
Tonight,
Oh my God! Somebody has my daughter.
all new 2020 true crime
I just remember it was madness.
has a case we all thought was solved
Holly Bobo.
Holly Bobo.
Holly Bobo.
been blown wide open.
Do you think the jury got this one wrong?
Absolutely.
Now, never before seen video of a key witness changing his story.
What does he tell you?
Tells me he made the whole thing up.
The all-new 2020 tonight at 9/8 Central on ABC.
They call him the Beauty Queen Killer. He's targeting young women in malls.
I am single. I want to enjoy the company of a member of women.
He tortured me.
How did she survive 9 days of terror?
The word accomplice came up.
Nobody knows the real story.
The Beauty Queen Killer. Only on Hulu. Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, start here.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
You know, that sounds pretty good.
Give it to me. Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food. GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, afternoons.
For everything you need to know.
I love that.
I'm Matt Rivers, traveling with the U.S. Secretary of State in Beijing, China. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. Donald Trump's attorney, Todd Blanche, has vowed to appeal yesterday's verdict against the former president, but lawyers don't come cheap. Trump's legal woes and their rising costs are this evening's By the Numbers. The former president still has 3 more criminal cases ahead of him, each more serious than his New York case. In Georgia, he's accused of election interference, and in his 2 federal cases, he's accused of subverting the 2020 election and mishandling sensitive documents. Jurors in New York deliberated for about 10 hours plus before finding Trump guilty Thursday on all 34 counts of falsifying business records. But President Trump has helped paying all these court battles. He built a $250 million war chest for his election defense fund after losing in 2020. As of 2 months ago, he has spent more than $100 million of that to pay his many lawyers. That's according to the New York Times. And that comes up to about $90,000 a day in legal-related costs. And who's giving him all that money? Those who donated to his election defense fund. The Trump campaign saying this morning it has raised $34.8 million just since the verdict was reached, all in small dollar donations. And it should be noted that the use of donations to pay personal lawyers is allowed under federal rules. There is much more ahead here on Prime. Joe Manchin leaving the Democratic Party, what party he's joining, and why he says he's jumping ship. Plus, back to the Blue album. 30 years since the classic Weezer album dropped, the band is taking the classics on the road.
Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed.
Here in London, in Buffalo,
Uvalde, Texas,
Edinburgh, Scotland, from Poland once again tonight. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. Do you think you'll ever be able to go back home? We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City. Splintered houses and splintered lives. The magnitude of the devastation. You're streaming ABC News Live. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Raleigh, North Carolina, the U.S. Capitol, Mayfield, Kentucky, Minneapolis, Mexico, Tongass National Forest, Alaska.
Getting you behind the stories as they happen, giving you a front row seat to our world as it plays out in real time, live.
ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights, America's most honored streaming news program, only on ABC News Live. Streaming free right now wherever you stream your news.
First thing in the morning.
There's a lot going on.
We're still in a flash flood warning. To catch you up with what happened overnight. Police in riot gear arresting dozens of protesters.
What's happening today? Escalating tensions in the Middle East.
What people are talking about, the migrant crisis.
Fast, straightforward,
with some fun in between.
Check out the Gator on the 17th hole.
The buzzkill in baseball.
First thing in the morning.
America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
On ABC News Live.
Whenever news breaks.
We are here in Israel, a nation at war.
In Rolling Fork, this tornado tore through this town.
From Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike.
ABC News Live everywhere.
In Iceland, let's go.
On the 2024 campaign trail.
Here at 10 Downing Street.
Wherever the story is.
We're going to take you there.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live, streaming free everywhere.
Everybody right now is worried that TikTok's going to be banned in the United States.
We owe a lot to TikTok, and I do not want to see it banned.
That's my main source of income. It would bring me into deep depression.
What evidence have you guys actually seen that this is a threat to national security?
The two greatest powers on Earth are vying over a teenage video app.
I am not imagining a future without TikTok.
The death of TikTok? This is Impact by Nightline, now streaming on Hulu. Get ready, America, every Friday.
The hottest trends, styles, and must-have. What's the right stuff to buy right now? I really love that. It's time to buy the right stuff.
Yes!
And save big time, too.
The right stuff.
Fridays on GMA. You're going to love it.
From the team that brought you the DuPont Award-winning report, a groundbreaking new investigation spanning 9,000 miles trashed the secret life of plastic exports. Stream free on Hulu.
Welcome back. The man convicted of killing his wife and his current wife's 2 children learns his fate. A driver with a suspended license calls into his virtual court hearing while driving. And from a 90-second spell-off to victory, meet this year's Scripps B champ. Those stories and much more in tonight's Rundown.
A jury has found Chad Daybell guilty in the murders of his first wife and his second wife's 2 children. The verdict comes more than a year after Daybell's second wife, Lori Vallow, was also convicted of murdering her 2 youngest children, Joshua J.J. Vallow, 7 years old, and Tylee Ryan, 16, in a so-called doomsday plot. Prosecutors claim that Vallow and Daybell thought the 2 children were dark spirits and zombies. Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia announced that he has switched his registration to independent, raising questions about his political plans, since the move could help his chances should he seek elected office again in a state that has turned heavily Republican. A study on drug overdoses illustrates just how expansive the country's crisis is. An estimated 321,000 children lost a parent to drug overdoses between 2011 and 2021, creating a mass childhood trauma, which is a main risk factor for addiction later in life. While Latinos, the nation's largest minority group, are graduating college at an increased rate in the last 2 decades, they remain underpaid and underrepresented in the workforce. According to new census data from 2000 to 2021, the number of Hispanic women earning advanced degrees climbed by 291% and by 199% among Hispanic men. A man was ordered to turn himself in after he appeared virtually in a court hearing for his suspended driver's license while driving.
Hello? Are you driving?
The incident happened during a hearing in May. Corey Harris was scheduled to be at the hearing for charges stemming from an earlier arrest.
This is a driver while license suspended?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And he was just driving?
Michigan has a law on its books prohibiting the use of cell phones and other electronic devices while driving. Harris was released on bail 2 days later.
That Bruhat Soma, you are the 2024.
7th grader Bruhat Soma victoriously hoisted the Scripps Cup at the 96th Scripps National Spelling Bee.
Bruette.
Brouette.
Due to time, this year's bee came down to a one-on-one spell-off with the St. Petersburg, Florida native correctly spelling 29 words in 90 seconds. That's almost 3 seconds per word.
During the height of the pandemic, many of us picked up new hobbies, but for 4 siblings from New Jersey, instead of finding something new, they perfected something old, the long-standing tradition of baking challah bread. Their love for the kitchen rose to something bigger than themselves, a way to give back to others through the love of their religion.
There was a lot of a lot of behind chef.
The Loftman siblings are always baking something.
We'd have 8, like 4 in the back, 4 in the front on each level.
Yeah.
Their kitchen ordered chaos.
We were all in this house, all 4 siblings, and our parents and a dog.
And in this Teaneck, New Jersey home, a love of baking, a love of Judaism, and a passion for helping others turned out to be the perfect ingredients for a small business. At its core, the traditional Jewish bread, challah.
I run Challah Back Girls full-time, and my siblings still act as co-founders and thought partners and advisors.
You heard her right. Sounds a bit like that classic Gwen Stefani song. But in this case, it's Challah Back Girls.
So we challah back, we give back through our challah.
Yeah. It is the ultimate dad joke. Yeah.
Siblings Sarah, Hannah, Marnie, and Eliana churning out challahs of all kinds to a rising customer base.
This is the apple cinnamon sugar challah.
Yummy.
And then we also have the coffee crumb and the double chocolate raspberry here.
Those challahs helping CBG break bread in a big way. Now, proceeds from the sales support organizations focused on social justice and disenfranchised communities. But it's not just about monetary support.
So when we began in 2020, and we would print out their mission on a piece of paper, cut each individual paper up, and include that mission in every package that we delivered. Challah Back Girls recently partnered with Jewish Women International, and we curated resources to go into each challah package. They actually have a deck of cards that highlight different women in Judaism.
Challah has an important place in Judaism as a staple at Shabbat dinners, Jewish holidays, and for the Loftman siblings, a major part of their childhood.
We would bake challah bread with our mom. Every Thursday night, we'd put up the dough, and when we got home from school, we were braiding all together.
And then, when the world stopped in 2020 and most were in lockdown, it would give the family a mission, with Hannah, the family baker, leading the way.
I couldn't hop on the sourdough trend, and I was like, I feel connected to challah bread, so why not make this?
The baking put to good use. Their mother, Karen, who works in a hospital network, bringing challahs to the frontline workers battling COVID-19. During the summer, the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis and subsequent racial discussion marking a turning point.
We kind of looked at each other as white Jewish American people, and how do we help? How do we learn more?
The answer, once again, challah, now giving the siblings a new purpose.
Hannah would be here with the 4 different mixers. I'd be here
measuring out,
putting flour all over the island in order to braid and knead the dough.
Sarah would be like, okay, we got 16 planes, 25 coffee crumbs, 18 chocolate chip, and 40 everything but the bagel.
Bigger batches meant bigger problems.
We also have new ovens because
this whole front cracked.
4 years in now, Challah Back Girls is going strong and growing by the day, partnering with a kosher bakery to keep up with demand.
Today, Challah Back Girls bakes and delivers challah nationwide, all 50 states on a weekly basis.
While continuing to collaborate with other organizations, hosting events at schools and in different communities to make and break bread.
Hi, everyone.
Using a leftover of sorts from COVID, Zoom.
Everyone have their kit essentials.
Sarah welcoming me into the family kitchen for a virtual baking event, allowing me to roll up my sleeves and roll in the dough.
So now we're going to take the strand furthest to the left, pick it up, and put it in the middle. And then we're going to do it again.
The results, 3 strands of dough woven together into a loaf, the makings of a challah. This was mine after baking. It's not bad, but the presentation could use some work.
Shabbat Shalom.
Some of the most important values in Judaism inspired the Lofmans Company, and it guides their work, particularly Tikkun Olam, the value of repairing the world, and tzedakah, which refers to charity or giving back.
There's a quote from Pirkei Avot that says, "You are not obligated to complete the work, but neither are you free to desist from it." And that is a huge grounding mantra for Challah Back Girls and for our upbringing.
There's another Jewish value called hafrashat challah, which in ancient times was the separating of a piece of the challah dough and sacrificing it to the higher priests. We say a blessing that is geared towards thinking of individuals and communities and nations that are in need of healing.
Being able to share these values and their religion is especially meaningful amid a sharp rise in anti-Semitism internationally.
How important do you think it is to share the religion with people who are not Jewish?
To be able to share my experience and my values of what I, as a Jewish woman, have learned over my years with other people that might have never engaged with a Jewish person. It's just awesome.
Thanks so much for helping me help my parents and others too. I'm so glad I found you.
We received comments from a Mormon family outside of Boston, and they were interested in challah bread and what this was all about. I also received a message about this young woman in Colorado who hadn't had challah in over 25 years. There are just a slew of stories that are super beautiful and connect different people from different parts of the country.
The siblings hoping to expand Challah Back Girls, perhaps one day, an interactive challah factory.
There will be a factory of some kinds where the challah will be made. There will also be a space where people can break bread, literally or figuratively.
Is it too ambitious to think that a challah could change the world?
No. The time.
Could have changed the world. It's great for French toast. Okay, so it was their debut album that redefined indie rock. 30 years now since Weezer's debut, known as Blue Album, hit the scene, giving us singles like Buddy Holly and Undone, the Sweater Song. Now, the band is taking their first record on the road, and our Maggie Rulli sat down with 2 members of Weezer to talk about bringing their classics to life once again.
Your songs stick with you. I think so many of us have been singing them now for 30 years. I know for me, Buddy Holly, Say It Ain't So. I mean, I can always go word for word with your lyrics.
Oh,
You guys are about to embark on your new tour, Voyage to the Blue Planet, and it's a celebration of the 30th anniversary of your iconic Blue album. And you have sold out shows across the country, around the world. And guys, this is 30 years later, not to date us, 30 years later, and it still seems to just be resonating with people. Why is that, do you think?
It feels timeless in a sense. Honestly, for us, it's fun to see everybody recognize it, and I don't know, it's hard to talk about, really.
When you're up there now performing, is it a rush of memories? Does it take you back to those early days?
It can.
Yeah.
You know, we've been playing a lot of these songs a lot, so sometimes we'll get a glimpse of like, oh, I remember what it was like in the beginning, and other times you're just, you know, playing.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty in the moment, like trying not to fall off the stage or step into the pyro or something, but also like the audience is so fun to watch.
Yeah.
They're hilarious, the way they dance or they sing or whatever the clothes they're wearing. So I just enjoy watching them.
When you are up there, are there ever moments, though, where you don't want to perform those mega hits? Are there songs from the album that you're excited to play that maybe people aren't as familiar with?
Well, I'm a people pleaser. I love hearing the roar of the crowd. So basically, whatever gets that reaction, I'm going to do up there. That being said, I think every tour we like to mix in a few songs that we are super excited about, something new or something rare. That's just super fun to play. And the audience, I think they appreciate it, even though sometimes they don't know the song that well. They just can tell that we're losing our minds up there and enjoying it, so it's pretty infectious.
In addition to your music, a huge part of your albums were the music videos. You'll never forget watching the video for Buddy Holly. What do you think of the state of music videos today?
I think they're 7 seconds long, and then I go like this, and it's a new one. There's a ton of talented people out there doing a lot of amazing things. I mean, the tools are in everyone's hands now, and it's just different, you know. But I'm glad we did what we do.
Can we expect to see any more epic music videos from you guys?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Ooh.
Can't say more.
Give us a tease. Give me a little bit more. A little bit
Maybe
more.
more than a video.
Really? What could that even mean?
Just have to find out.
Oh, well, now I'm thinking all crazy thoughts about what you guys are going to do. You mentioned that grunge was popular when you guys were writing that first album. I know you were also into metal at some points. Your style isn't really those things. So how did you find your style? It's so unique. How'd you gain the confidence in that style?
It took a while. Like the whole first year of Weezer wasn't quite gelling. Like I still had really long hair, and I was still trying to scream like I was in Nirvana or something. You can't fight who you are and how your voice is constructed. So eventually you kind of give in and say, okay, this is who I am. This is the way my voice sounds. This is the kind of melodies I react to. So let's just go with that. And maybe nobody's going to like it, but this is who we are.
Sitting across from you two right now, it's pretty rare in the music industry to have a partnership like yours. You've been playing together for 30 years. You've really come up together. You became this iconic band together, and here you are, still together. That's hard in any industry, so what's your secret?
I mean, we're like 7 different people since then, so at some point I think you just get a perspective, and you're happy, and you're grateful for all the good things that have happened, and maybe you're not as angsty about stupid things anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're just naturally a great match for each other creatively. So there's just I can't imagine trying to do any of this without Patrick. So
it's nice to say.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, and I definitely can't do anything unless River's there.
Yeah, and then I know for myself, like being married now 17 years and working on that relationship, couples therapy, learning how to communicate. You have to go through that, and I developed a lot of skills, which I think has helped me in my relationships with the band and everywhere in my life.
You guys are couple goals. You truly are. Look at this. The love is amazing to see.
It's a model pairing.
It is. My last question for you, because I'm curious. You said you're a people pleaser, But what about if you're going to make Rivers happy, you make Pat happy? What song are you most excited about playing from any song from the last 30 years? You guys have such a catalog. What are you most looking forward to playing?
I love Holiday on the Blue Album. It's my favorite.
How come?
It's evocative of a different reality to me. It's really great.
Do you have one, Rivers?
Lately, Only in Dreams. Which is the last song on the Blue Album, and it has this very long double guitar solo, so all four of us are kind of shredding together in harmony. It's a very magical moment every night.
Yeah. Oh, guys, we're all so excited to see you on tour again, and I'm so thrilled that you sat down with us. We're so appreciative. It's such a treat. Thanks for everything.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Absolutely, such a treat. Maggie, thank you. You can catch Weezer on their Voyage to the Blue Planet tour with tickets available out now. And before we go tonight, we have to take a moment to honor and celebrate a friend and colleague of ours, ABC News senior producer Heidi Jensen. Heidi is retiring today after more than 20 years at ABC News, and what a stupendous run she has had. Heidi has been an integral part of ABC News Live, the heart and soul of our team in Washington, producing and coordinating all of our ABC News Live shows, in addition to serving in a key role in producing pool coverage for major network events. Heidi and her husband Chuck plan to spend their retirement living out their dreams and traveling the world together. So we are both thrilled and honestly a little jealous, too, of her upcoming wild adventure. Her infectious laugh, determined attitude, and caring heart will be missed by all of us here at ABC News. We are wishing you all the best and congratulations on your retirement, Heidi. That's our show for this hour. I'm Phil Lipoff. Stay with ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. And thanks for streaming with us. And coming up in the next hour, the new questions about whether former President Trump violated his gag order as he blasts the guilty verdict and President Biden weighs in. And the plot French officials say they uncovered to attack the upcoming Olympic Games.
Drugs like Ozempic. So many people are using them or want to use them. If you're on these drugs, what should you eat to get the protein you need? How can they help with your heart health? And what's the best plan after hitting your goal weight? Next week, GMA with the science behind it all for you.
Hi, I'm Andy. And I'm Sabrina. And we're moms, juggling tons of stuff every day, like all you moms out there. And you know what we love? Really love? Pop culture. So listen now to our new podcast, Pop Culture Moms, wherever you get your podcasts.
It's lunchtime in America, so what are we serving up?
Well, how about everything you need to know?
You know, that sounds pretty good.
Give it to me. Your health, your money, breaking news, pop culture, with the biggest stars, music, trends, and of course, good food. GMA 3, what you need to know. A third hour of GMA in the afternoon.
So join us, afternoons.
For everything you need to know. I love that.
Let's go.
The ship is incredible. It feels like living in a science fiction movie.
We just saw what no one has seen before.
Wow, look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Well, dead ahead. Tag on!
We are heading into the unknown.
Hammer, hammer, hammer. It doesn't get any more cutting edge than this.
What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
An operation to capture ISIS fighters.
Is this our Combat Operations Center?
We're approaching the gate now. Militants came in from 4 or 5 different directions. Operational nuclear reactor. So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag, there's not a tear in it.
Not a tear in it.
How important is this label right here, Made in the USA? Look at your smile. You're proud of this.
I love this.
Great work.
Hi.
Where are you? Where are you? Appreciate you. Thank you.
David, good to meet you.
Ismail? David.
David.
Yes. I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
I watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
I experienced a lot of heartache. I'm a tough woman, but it's not easy. You're gonna feel lonely. It's taken me a really long time to even get to this moment.
And the CMA Award for
Entertainer of the Year
goes to
Lainey Wilson.
That was a mic drop.
The Entertainer of the Year, baby.
I do see the bell bottoms and the hat as my superhero outfit.
Wild horses.
Reporting from Monterey Park, California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News live.
Good evening. This is ABC News Live Prime. I'm Phil Lipoff in tonight for Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We've got a lot of news to get to tonight, including the former president on offense as he lays out his grievances about his 34-count conviction in his New York hush money trial. What he plans to do next. And we are also going to speak to one Republican member of the House who says investigating the conduct of that trial itself should be the top priority of Congress. Plus, President Biden saying it is time to end the war, revealing to the world the offer that has been made to Hamas to try to get a ceasefire and to get the hostages home, what Israel and Hamas are now saying. And the plot French officials say they uncovered to attack the upcoming Olympic Games. But we are going to begin this Friday night with the fallout after that historic guilty verdict in the trial of the former President Trump. Trump today lashing out at the verdict, vowing to appeal it, as President Biden breaks his silence. The guilty verdict now looming large over this razor-thin race for the White House. Biden defending the American legal system and the 12 citizens who served as jurors, calling it reckless, dangerous, and irresponsible for anyone to call it, quote, rigged just because they don't like the verdict. Meantime, Trump spoke for more than half an hour at Trump Tower, blasting the case, the judge, and the guilty verdict, warning, quote, if they can do this to me, they can do this to anyone. Trump continues to deny he did anything wrong. Sentencing is now set for July 11th, and that is just 4 days before the RNC. Rachel Scott leads us off from New York.
Tonight, President Biden speaking out for the first time since his rival, former President Donald Trump, was convicted of 34 felony counts, declaring the verdict should be respected.
The American principle that no one is above the law was reaffirmed.
Biden praising the regular Americans who sat on the 12-person jury, saying Trump was given every opportunity to defend himself and denouncing Trump's efforts to undermine the criminal justice system.
It's reckless, it's dangerous, it's irresponsible for anyone to say this was rigged just because they don't like the verdict. Our justice system. The justice system should be respected, and we should never allow anyone to tear it down.
But from Trump today, defiance and fury. At Trump Tower, the former president lashing out in a 33-minute speech, making the outrageous claim that the U.S. is fascist.
This is a case where if they can do this to me, they can do this to anyone.
Trump claiming he's done nothing wrong.
I paid a lawyer, a legal expense, and a bookkeeper without any knowledge from me correctly marked it down in the books.
But the jury saw it differently. 7 men, 5 women, those jurors selected by both the defense and the prosecution from all walks of life, determining Trump did commit crimes, convicting him on all 34 counts of falsifying business records, to conceal a $130,000 hush money payment to porn star Stormy Daniels to keep her story from voters before the 2016 election. And tonight, questions about whether Trump violated the gag order still in place and bringing up his former friend and fixer, Michael Cohen.
I'm not allowed to use his name because of the gag order. But, you know, he's a sleazebag.
Judge Juan Merchan, who held Trump in criminal contempt 10 times, fining him $10,000 during the trial, has said that if Trump violates the order again, he'd risk going to jail. Trump attacked him, too, calling him a devil and a tyrant. It will be Merchan who sentences the former president on July 11th, just 4 days before he's set to accept the Republican nomination for president.
Our thanks to Rachel Scott. The other major headline tonight from the White House, President Biden taking the dramatic move of going public, revealing to the world the most recent deal offered to Hamas to try to get a ceasefire, get the hostages home, and more humanitarian aid into Gaza. The president saying, quote, "It's time for this war to end." What Israel and Hamas are indicating tonight. Our Mary Bruce is at the White House.
Tonight, in a dramatic move, President Biden laying out in great detail for the world to see the ceasefire deal Israel has put on the table, challenging Hamas to get on board as Biden himself faces growing political pressure here at home.
It's time for this war to end.
The president, in stark terms, assuring that Hamas has been drastically degraded.
At this point, Hamas no longer is capable of carrying out another October 7th. It's one of Israel's main objectives in this war, and quite frankly, a righteous one.
Biden, for the first time, pulling back the curtain on negotiations. The first phase, an initial 6-week ceasefire with women, children, and the most vulnerable hostages returned in exchange for the release of hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. Israeli troops would withdraw from populated areas in Gaza, and humanitarian aid would surge in. What comes next, far more complicated. The temporary ceasefire would hold while Israel and Hamas negotiate a permanent plan, a full end to fighting and release of the remaining hostages.
Hamas needs to take the deal.
Just days after the Israelis cautioned the war would continue through the end of the year, Biden with a message to them too, urging Prime Minister Netanyahu to stand behind this deal, despite pressure from hardliners to keep up the fight. The president now declaring enough is enough.
It's time to begin this new stage. For the hostages to come home, for Israel to be secure, for the suffering to stop.
Mary Bruce from the White House. Mary, thank you. A retired 4-star admiral, once the #2 official in the Navy, has been arrested on bribery charges. He's accused of steering a government contract to a private company that promised to hire him for $500,000 a year. Here's Martha Raddatz.
He is a retired 4-star admiral, the #2 position in all of the Navy. But this morning, Admiral Robert Burke was arrested at his home in Florida on bribery charges for allegedly directing a lucrative government training contract to a private company that promised him a $500,000 annual salary plus stock options after retirement. Prosecutors say the bribery scheme happened over a 2-year period from 2020 to 2022, at a time Burke commanded thousands of U.S. forces as head of naval operations in Europe and Africa. The indictment says that within months of his retirement, Burke went to work for the company and received his $500,000 salary. The U.S. Attorney's Office saying Admiral Burke not only used his public office and his 4-star status for his private gain, but tried to cover it up by falsely implying he had no role in awarding the contract.
Our thanks to Martha for that story. And tonight, the emotional sentencing hearing in a Connecticut murder case that made national headlines. Michelle Troconis, convicted of helping her boyfriend kill his wife, wept as their 5 children told the court of how they were hurt by their mother's death. Here's Stephanie Ramos.
Tonight, gut-wrenching testimony at the sentencing for Michelle Troconis, the woman convicted of plotting with her boyfriend to kill his estranged wife, Jennifer Dulos, a Connecticut mother of 5.
Michelle Troconis shattered Jennifer's family.
Dulos' children speaking for the first time alongside pictures with their mother.
I've been left with a hole inside of me that I know I will never be able to fill.
Jennifer Dulos disappeared 5 years ago. After his arrest, husband Fotis Dulos took his own life. But prosecutors put Troconis on trial, showing this video they said proved she helped Dulos dispose of the evidence. Dulos' daughter, Christiane, who was just 10 years old, saying this about the woman who conspired to kill her mom.
Michelle Troconis to me is the reason I feel completely lost and alone on nights when I cannot sleep. She's the reason why I've blocked out my childhood, and that day so much I can barely remember it.
Through tears, Troconis' only child asked the judge for mercy.
I am begging you to listen. I need my mom in my life.
Thanks to Stephanie Ramos. And now to the fatal shooting of former General Hospital actor Johnny Wachter. Tonight, the co-worker who was with him when he was gunned down is speaking for the first time about those final moments. Here's ABC's Mola Lenghi.
Just days after the fatal shooting of former General Hospital actor Johnny Wachter, his co-worker and friend, Anita Joy, who was with him in those final moments, speaking out.
Can you take me back to that night?
A man is down like on his knees putting a jack under the car, and he had the car halfway jacked up. And then we realized this is not tow people.
The two had finished their bartending shift at around 3 a.m. Saturday in downtown Los Angeles and were walking to their cars when police say they came across 3 suspects in masks attempting to steal Wachter's catalytic converter, which contains valuable metals enticing to thieves. Joy says Wachter approached one of the suspects, who then instantly opened fire, striking Wachter in the chest.
I had blood in my hands, so I ripped his shirt open and he had a shot right to his chest. I was just screaming at him, trying to tell him to stay with me and that I love him and, like, you know, don't go.
The 37-year-old rushed to the hospital where he was pronounced dead.
They didn't even get the catalytic converter. That's what they were going for. They left with Johnny's life instead.
Yeah, it's just so senseless. Mola joins us now. Mola, what do we know about the search for suspects?
Well, Phil, LAPD tells us tonight that they are still searching for those 3 suspects. As you know, we're going on 6 days now, that manhunt. Still no arrests, no suspects. Investigators say they fled the scene in a dark-colored sedan, and authorities are at the point where they're asking the public, anyone who might have some information, to come forward to help, Phil.
Mola Lenghi from Los Angeles tonight. Mola, thank you. Jennifer Lopez canceling her summer tour, saying it's to spend more time with her family and friends. The singer added she was, quote, completely heartsick and devastated for letting fans down and wouldn't do this if she didn't feel that it was necessary. The decision comes after the tour underwent several changes, including the cancellation of multiple show dates in March and in April. The show was rebranded with a new name. Next tonight, the harrowing new body camera video after that deadly explosion in Youngstown, Ohio. Officers racing to the scene of that blast, looking for survivors in a bank that was destroyed by the blast, with apartments just above it. Here's ABC's Alex Perez with the details.
Hey, back up, back up, back up, back up!
Tonight, dramatic video from an officer's body-worn camera shows the aftermath of a massive, deadly explosion in Youngstown, Ohio. The sound of gas hissing as firefighters race to find survivors amid the rubble moments after the blast collapsed part of the building's first floor into the basement.
You hold this ladder, yeah, go. Get down there. Go.
Teams lowering a ladder into the crater. That firefighter carrying that victim up the ladder out of the pit on his back. Screaming in pain as they move her away from the building. The blast at the 13-story apartment building, killing an employee inside the bank on the first floor, 7 others taken to the hospital.
And Phil, construction crews were working in the basement, and officials believe they may have cut a gas line that was supposed to be out of service, causing that explosion. Phil?
Alex, thank you. Former First Lady Michelle Obama is mourning the loss of her mother tonight. Marion Robinson was an important fixture in the Obamas' lives, moving to the White House and helping them raise their daughters as the family's lives changed dramatically. In a statement, the former president and First Lady said, quote, she was always, always there, welcoming us back home no matter how far we had journeyed, with that deep and abiding love. Marion Robinson was 86 years old. There is still much more to get to tonight. Coming up, the murder rate in Mexico is 5 times higher than the U.S., but most of the guns come from the states. What's fueling the trafficking? But next, dozens are rescued after major flooding triggers disruptions and even a mudslide. Why it may not be the last major storm this year.
Coming of age in the 1980s, the Brat Pack was near the center of your cultural awareness. But for those of us experiencing it from the inside, the Brat Pack was something very different.
I'm really sorry that article had to come out.
I just remember seeing that cover and thinking, oh. So I thought it might be interesting to try and contact everyone who is in the Brat Pack. You were not interested in talking about the Brat Pack.
I turned everything down.
How come you're talking to me?
Because it was time that we clear the air on a couple of things.
Whoa. I hated the Brat Pack for decades. What a disaster.
Why did we take it as an offense?
We're afraid we were brats, you know.
Andrew?
I mean, I'm not going to say we were the Beatles or anything.
Well, we didn't fill Shea Stadium. There were moments.
We could have. 1985, I think we could have.
Everybody right now is worried that TikTok's going to be banned in the United States.
We owe a lot to TikTok, and I do not want to see it banned.
That's my main source of income. It would bring me into deep depression.
What evidence have you guys actually seen that this is a threat to national security?
The two greatest powers on Earth are vying over a teenage video app.
I am not imagining a future without TikTok.
The death of TikTok? This is Impact by Nightline, now streaming on Hulu. Are you ready to celebrate? Sunday, June 30th, across the country. See, experience some of the nation's greatest Pride celebrations all in one place as they happen live right here on ABC News Live. Pride across America. Celebrate joy, love, freedom, and pride. Sunday, June 30th, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Streaming on ABC News Live and stream on Hulu.
Traveling with the president in London, I'm Elizabeth Folsey. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. We are tracking several headlines around the world at this hour. Mexico going to the polls this Sunday and is poised to elect the country's first woman president. The race's two female frontrunners, Claudia Sheinbaum and former Mexico City mayor representing the government's left-leaning party, and former Senator Xochitl Gálvez, a tech entrepreneur representing a third-party opposition coalition. The election cycle has been plagued by violence, with more than 23 people killed so far, 30 people, candidates running for mayor or town council positions. French authorities have arrested an 18-year-old accused of planning an attack aimed at soccer matches during next month's Paris Olympics. Investigators say the targets would have been spectators and police forces. France is on the highest security alert ahead of the Olympic Games, which are expected to draw in millions of visitors. Rescuers in northern India evacuating flood victims and giving supplies to people stranded in their homes following a cyclone there. Heavy rainfall causing extensive flooding, traffic disruptions, even a mudslide. This is the first of the frequent storms expected to pound low-lying coasts of India and Bangladesh this year as climate change drives up surface temperatures at sea. The murder rate in Mexico is 5 times higher than in the United States, and the vast majority of those killings involve guns smuggled in from America. In her new book, Exit Wounds, How America's Guns Fuel Violence Across the Border, Yiva Usonite, a legal and medical anthropologist and associate professor at Brown University, flips the usual narrative surrounding the border to focus not on the drugs and the people heading north, but the weapons heading south. Professor Usonite joins us now. Professor, thank you so much. It's good to see you tonight. In 2015, you began volunteering as an EMT paramedic on the U.S.-Mexico border, and you saw for yourself the results of gun trafficking firsthand. How did these experiences inform the narratives that you share in Exit Wounds?
So when I was volunteering on the border, I saw a lot of people who were trying to get to safety in the United States because either they directly experienced gun violence or somebody in their family has been kidnapped or threatened. A lot of people experience extortion, whether they are farmers or small business owners. So seeing them every day and crossing the border every day between United States and Mexico, it just became apparent to me that the people are fleeing violence that is directly caused by guns that are being sold in Arizona, in Texas, and other parts of the country.
You write, we often hear that gun violence in the United States has reached alarming levels, but there is one country in particular which has been on the receiving end of American firepower with devastating effects. That's our southern neighbor, Mexico. Talk a little bit about how America's gun laws have driven many Mexicans to seek asylum in the U.S., as you were talking about.
Well, violence in Mexico is a result of a lot of issues in the country. One of them is very powerful organized crime groups that are trafficking drugs into the United States. Those groups that are competing for routes to bring those only to gun stores. So what they do is they use the money from selling drugs to acquire those weapons in stores legally in Arizona or Texas. Somebody who's a U.S. citizen or national goes and buys the guns, and then they give them over to smugglers, and smugglers bring them across the border, hidden in cars often, or bigger trucks. And then those guns get into the hands of organized crime groups. So because it is so easy to get weapons in the United States and so difficult in Mexico, and we have over about 10,000 gun stores, establishments as the place you can actually go in and buy a gun in border states, it's a very easy supply source of these firearms for Mexican organized crime groups.
As we mentioned earlier on in the show, Mexico's elections are on Sunday, and the lead-up has been plagued with violence. Do you think a change in the political landscape there could have any meaningful impact on gun trafficking?
Well, we are seeing an uptick in violence in the elections because usually when there is a change in political structure, that's happening. And now there are a lot of mayors and city councils, in addition to the presidential election. A lot of violence in Mexico is caused by guns from the United States. Over 70% of those found in crime scenes have been traced by ATF to the stores that sold them in the United States. So it is possible. The leading candidate, Claudia Sheinbaum, has had good results in her security strategy in Mexico City. It is not very clear whether those can be replicated around the country, because in some parts of Mexico, organized crime groups are much stronger than in Mexico City. But it is something we are looking forward to.
All right, Yiva, thank you so much for joining us. Exit Wounds, How America's Guns Fuel Violence Across the Border is available for purchase. And still to come, on his retirement, a fighter pilot reflecting on a pivotal moment in his career and the country's history.
News. This is Start Here. To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here.
Let's go.
The ship is incredible. It feels like living in a science fiction movie.
We just saw what no one has seen before.
Wow, look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Well, dead ahead! Hang on!
We are heading into the unknown.
Hammer, hammer, hammer.
It doesn't get any more cutting edge than this.
Tonight.
Oh my God! Somebody has my daughter.
All new 2020 True Crime.
I just remember it was madness.
Has a case we all thought was solved.
Holly Bobo.
Holly Bobo.
Holly Bobo.
Been blown wide open.
Do you think the jury got this one wrong?
Absolutely.
Now, never before seen video of a key witness changing his story. What does he tell you?
Tells me he made the whole thing up.
The all-new 2020, tonight at 9/8 Central on ABC.
What's good to watch? Read? Where can I get a great deal on what I'm just dying to buy? Oh, it's all right here. GMA Life. All the exclusive and buzziest celebrity good stuff. Deals and steals with amazing savings and the coolest lifestyle tips from Good Morning America.
I love that so much.
GMA Life. Streaming weekends on ABC News Live. Your weekend just got a little better with GMA Life.
When it matters most, America turns to David Muir and ABC's World News Tonight.
Finally tonight, an F-16 fighter pilot is retiring after 4 decades of service and sharing his orders on 9/11 in what could have become his final mission. ABC Chief Global Affairs anchor Martha Raddatz with his story.
You are watching U.S. Air Force Lieutenant General Mark Sasseville suit up for the last time.
All right, take flight, sir. Thank you.
Walking out to the fighter jet with his name on the side, his call sign SAS, taking off from Joint Base Andrews near Washington, the same base where 23 years ago he was sent on a mission he thought could be his last.
When you take off in your fighter jet, you don't really know what your mission is.
We don't really know what our mission is.
2 hijacked planes had hit the Twin Towers, and just a few miles away, another had hit the Pentagon.
One of the memories that will stay with me forever is seeing the Pentagon on fire and being able to smell the fumes that were coming off of that. Just the burning concrete, the fuel from the airplane that had hit. And I tell you, Martha, what I was thinking about was December 7th, 1941. Here we go again.
He would get his orders, along with F-16 pilot 26-year-old Heather Penny, find a rogue passenger jet, United Flight 93. Their F-16s did not have missiles on board. It was a different time. So Penny and Sasseville, with 2 young children at home, decided that they would ram the missing hijacked plane with their fighter jets.
You both agreed that if you had to, you would engage in a suicide mission.
It's a testament to Sass's leadership that he didn't ask anyone else to lead that mission. He wouldn't ask anyone else to give what he was unwilling to give.
The fighter pilots would later discover the passengers and crew on Flight 93 had stormed the cockpit, the plane crashing into a Shanksville, Pennsylvania field.
If those heroes on 93, and by the way, those are the real heroes, if they hadn't taken action and they hadn't done what needed to be done, it would have been a very different outcome for me and my family.
But he kept quiet about his own role that day.
When you went home, your wife and kids are there. What'd you say?
Well, I said nothing at first. I hugged them and squeezed them very tightly. And I didn't tell them, actually, for a while what had happened. And I told them that I loved them. And I was going to be gone to work for a long time because something very bad had happened to America.
Eventually, his wife, Karen, hearing the whole story.
What did you think of what you did?
She was in awe.
She was proud of you.
She was. She was.
And Karen and the kids were there for his retirement ceremony this week after some 40 years of service.
It has been a tremendous honor and a privilege to serve, and a truly rare opportunity for me and my family to make a difference. Now you have the watch. Thank you all.
One last speech and one last flight. Karen moved to tears. His children, Lauren and Luke, waiting with pride. The fighter pilot who was prepared to give his own life to save others.
Oh, Dad, I'm so proud of you. Oh, I love you. Love you.
Thank you, everybody.
Martha, thank you, and a grateful nation thanks him for his service. That's our show for tonight. I'm Phil Lipoff. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. And you can always find us on Hulu, Roku, Pluto TV, the ABC News app, and of course, abcnews.com. Have a good night.
Are you ready to celebrate? Sunday.